Hey everybody, Stefan Voss, Head of Product Management for Cove. So I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on what we've been up to in Q1 2025. It's been pretty exciting. There's 4 things I wanted to highlight. The first bucket, as always, is technician efficiency, right? We're really there to make the lives of the solution provider, the technician, easier. And one cool thing that we did is this integration with Roost. It's one of the leading automation tools. And we basically kind of provided this integration and some automation flows, if you want to look at it this way, to just streamline things like onboarding of a customer, onboarding of devices, invoicing. So if you want to learn more, just go to the blog. There's a cool blog that just kind of takes you through some of the things we've done, and always reach out. The second thing we've done is we've actually published these usage APIs. So as you can imagine, billing is just one of the biggest pain points I've heard today. The easier we can make it to just publish the usage information in a PSA, the better it is, because that's typically where we live. This is where we do our jobs as MSPs, right? So we did a couple of things, and we certainly plan to do more, but we have a couple of early adopters, and we also have worked with a company called Gradient that essentially does sort of an aggregation, customer mapping, and solves a bunch of sort of billing related use cases. Those are 2 nice examples of, how we can connect a Cove really into the ecosystem so we can meet these workflows where you are and automate them all together, right? So those are the first 2. On the Microsoft 365 or cloud-to-cloud backup space, we actually worked on providing a solution to just make this offboarding easier. So again, this is the piece where we always worry about when we have inactive users, how do I remove them from billing? And so we have greater visibility, and we just added this piece so we can actually remove groups of users, or we'll just call it bulk offboarding. So that's a nice enhancement. Again, this is meant to make the lives of the MSPs easier and the technician to know what's what. And then the last piece is really continuity. This is exciting because we all love disaster recovery as a service, and we might want to use the hyperscaler cloud, in this case Azure, because it's much easier than just building a disaster recovery site. Problem is, as you would imagine, sometimes costs can get in the way. The storage costs can be sometimes a little bit overwhelming. Well, we just worked and released a capability or a feature that allows us to cut the storage costs essentially in half. Yes, that's a 50% reduction of the storage cost, and it just lowers the barrier to entry to provide this outcome to our end customers, which is really, really exciting. So for Q2 2025, we have a lot of exciting stuff coming as well. So one of those themes that we have is, how do we protect the full estate? So what that means is just broader workload coverage, even if it's within Microsoft 365. I know one of the topics that was top of mind, hey, can you protect online archives, right? So that's something we're set out to support and add in, so we have more complete protection of your Microsoft 365 estate. We also understand there's servers, right? So while we protect Linux today, we wanted to give the ability to protect the quote-unquote system state. It's not exactly called that. That's a Microsoft term, but you get the idea. So I can do an image level recovery, and then we'll be able to do a bare metal restore as well. So that'll complete and make this protection of your estate, your full estate, a little bit easier. The second theme is, of course, cyber resilience, right? So we did some really exciting work to just have, fortified copies, immutable storage, without having to hire an army to manage it, without having to think about what workloads do I add and so forth. So that's GA. It's always on. You can't turn it off, so that should give you peace of mind. But what about anomaly detection, right? So detecting when the bad actor actually goes in very sneaky and does some sort of critical configuration change, anything that would compromise sort of the integrity of the backup, you would want to know about it. And for that, we need to be able to detect it. And that is exactly what we're going to work on. So the event-based notification service is already in preview. We've had really nice sort of feedback, like with the idea that not only when a backup fails, but when a backup completes with errors, when these things are happening that indicate that maybe your SLA is at jeopardy, or there's an anomaly that you need to know about, anything you want to take action on, you'll know about it. So the event-based notification is something that, we will give you an email, right? That was the first slice. So email me when something is going on, and then of course fast forward, email me when someone deletes a backup device or compromises the integrity of my backup. And then the last piece is really, how do we evolve PSA integration? So these events that I just talked about would of course find an ideal place in a PSA as well, right? So open a ticket and then just go ahead and, sort of alert me through that mechanism, not only an email, right? So that is certainly something that I wouldn't say that's quite Q2, but that is obviously the logical evolution. The other part of the PSA integration that will be in part in Q2 is sort of evolving this billing API that I just talked about, the use case, the invoicing process, to make that a lot easier. And it just so happens that, obviously we want to take this further. We want to take this to a GA. We want to have more direct customers or customers directly integrating into it. And we have already started working with Halo to provide a very nifty integration to just prove, like, how can we use Halo PSA to just simplify your Cove invoicing process. So the last bit, of course, related to PSA is that billing API integration that we talked about. So we have published APIs. They're in our developer portal. We are evolving how we integrate with Gradient as one of our ecosystem partners. And of course, we will see more and more customers just doing a direct integration, mapping their customers in, and then supporting it in a PSA so they can do their usage and billing reconciliation / invoicing. Now, as you would expect, one of the hot PSA vendors is Halo PSA. We're very excited that we have already started working with them on exactly this use case. They're also definitely seeing this demand for invoicing in addition to the ticketing use case. Super excited to work on this even more. So if there's any interest in that specific topic, you know where to find me. Just reach out and we'll make sure that we give you an overview.